Well, I don't think it was a losing effort. We lost the ball game, but I thought the effort was good. You know, I don't, fault our players for lack of effort. Alex played like Alex does. You know, he's a very competitive young guy, as you see, and runs extremely hard, and gets a lot of that yards after contact yardage, and comes back for more. Very happy. Well, whether or not to utilize the timeout, what's going on in my mind is we need to stop them. You know, we need to get the brakes put on, and we get the penalty, and the penalty puts him in field goal range. You know, the intent was, he was pre-game, he kicked the ball from, snapped from the 33-yard line, so he was hitting right at 50 yards, and that was probably as good as he was going to get. And that was the intent, was hopefully that we could not let him get much beyond the 33-yard line, but the penalty took care of that. So it was a matter of, trying to keep him out and see if we could pressure him enough. He had missed, he'd missed earlier field goal attempts and struggled a little bit, but I give him credit. I mean, it was a pressure kick more so than any of the others, and he put it where it needed to be. Now what? Well, it's hard. I appreciate them and admire them because you got guys going down left and right, and somebody steps in and plays. We gave up a lot of yardage, but when you go back and look at it, for the most part, except later in the game, we did a pretty nice job of gave up a lot of yardage, but did a pretty nice job of keeping them out of the end zone. In the first three quarters. That one touchdown that they got, that was the bobble we had on the kickoff return. Well, I mean, in any ball game, minimal number of mistakes probably gives you a better chance to win. So when you make mistakes, they're costly, and that today was no exception to that. Yes, I mean, they replayed it and indicated that that it was a fumble. It's his elbow. I mean, I just saw what's on the scoreboard like everybody else does, and elbow hit, ball came out. So they had to define whether it came out first or not, and I couldn't they didn't replay it, so I don't know. I wouldn't. They looked at it, so I'm not going to question their call. Well, I don't know how he graded out. We'll have to look at the videotape, but he'd like to have some snaps back, but he also did some good things. So I think it's played okay. Could have played better, but did some very, very fine things. In certain situations. Led some drives. Did a nice job with a couple of drives, particularly two that we had early in the ball game, and had a few throws that just maybe a couple of yards short, and maybe you have a play, but that's nitpicking when you're talking about throwing the ball 50, 55 yards downfield. If you're talking about 3 or 4 feet, that's nobody has control over that. Well, I'm not sure what that would signify. I don't think it's a I don't think it's a trademark for this football team that we just come up short. And there's a lot of things that enter into it, and that's true every single game. So I couldn't put a tab on a tag on our football team that says they can't win close ball games, not by any stretch of the imagination. Just drink more water. That's what my doctor tells me. Anybody else? Anybody else? That it? Thank you, guys.